Hey tootRN fam! So here's a question from one of my students that she shared with me today. She needed a little bit of help working through it together, so I wanted to share it with everybody here and work through it with the whole family. So let's read it together. The question is, the nurse is caring for a client diagnosed with acute pericarditis. Which assessment finding would cause the nurse to immediately contact the healthcare provider? Option A says chest pain, worse when in supine position. Option B says muffled heart sounds and narrow pulse pressure. Option C says pericardial friction rub on auscultation. And option D says ST segment elevation on all ECG leads. So first thing, I want to identify what the question is asking me. So in this question, we know that we're being asked, what do we want to immediately tell our provider about? Which one of these things, which one of these options do we have to report right away? Now, what do we got here? We know that the client has acute pericarditis. We're assessing them. So thinking about acute pericarditis, this is where we want to apply our knowledge, right? So we got to think, well, what is it? What is acute pericarditis? We know that's inflammation of the pericardial lining, right? That's the lining that surrounds the heart. So it's inflammation of that lining. So we should be thinking about that and all the outcomes, right? All the outcomes of what happens when you have inflammation of that pericardial lining, that pericardial sac. So looking at these answer options, we're looking for what we immediately want to report. And that term should really jump out to us, right? Immediately. We know that means priority. Above everything and anything that we have the option to do here, A, B, C, and D, which one is the right now, gotta get on it. So chest pain worse when in supine position. Well, this isn't my top thing right here because I know that this is an expected outcome of acute pericarditis. It's not nice for the patient, right? But I expect this with the issue that's going on. Muffled heart sounds and narrow pulse pressure. Definitely concerned about this because these signs indicate a cardiac tamponade, which can be a complication of an acute pericarditis, and that can be an emergency, right? You can put so much pressure on the heart from all that fluid buildup surrounding the heart that the heart cannot pump effectively. And if it can't pump effectively, well, we have a huge problem that can happen as a result of that. And this is what B is telling me, so I'll leave that alone. Pericardial friction rub on auscultation, that's option C. So again, not a great thing, but because it's an expected outcome of acute pericarditis, I'm not really jumping on top of this right away. D is ST segment elevation on all ECG leads. So I'm thinking, oh, ST segment elevation. You know what pops into my head right away? I think about STEMI, right? A myocardial infarct. But careful with reading. Careful with the words. ST segment elevation on all ECG leads. Well, I know that diffuse, right? ST segment elevation, that's what we see on all ECG leads. So that would be diffuse. That's something that is related to pericarditis. When we think about STEMIs, right? We think about our myocardial infarct and then ST elevation. That's not on all ECG leads. That's on some, right? It's on certain ECG leads, and that's what correlates to a myocardial infarct. So if I wasn't careful here, I might miss that and think, oh, ST segment elevation, heart attack, that's a priority, but not on all ECG leads. That's not the correlation there. The correct answer here is B. This is indicating a cardiac tamponade, which is an emergency. We have to jump on top of that right now because we know that we are presented here with a scenario of someone whose heart, the squeeze, the pump, the function is compromised.